ng ating church. Kasi panahon na naman ng mga annual conferences. No? At maimportante na inaiinti natin, alam ko marami sa inyong mga churches nag-charge conference na. Tapos ang next mag-annual conference na. At mapalad tayo kasi this year nakaschedule talaga ang General Conference at Central Conference. So it is very important for us to be able to understand, no, the structure of the United Methodist Church. I'm sure marami nag-a-attend sa atin dito yung mga DS at yung iba naging General Conference delegates na. So it will just be a review for them, but this is really meant for lay leaders, mga laiko na leaders na umaattend ng mga konferensya from church conference to annual conference to central conference, no? Ito ay napaka-importante na education, no? Parang to inform and also to help enable participants in order to that they can be responsible sa kanilang mga posisyon pag umattend sila ng mga konferensya at even in the local church. So itong unang presentation natin ay i-prepare ng Kentucky Annual Conference, no? But it is an overview of the polity and structure of the Methodist Church. Sige, here. Paano ko ba alisin itong ano yan? Ay, ganun ba yun? Mali. Hindi ko.
Ano pong nangyari, Doc?
Ito aking screen ay
Okay.
nabablock niya yung mukha ko, nabablock niya yung mga...
I-minimize nyo lang po. Pwede po.
Ay, gano'n. Oh, okay.
Apo.
Ayan, that's the one. Okay, so the goals are to understand the purpose and overall structure of the United Methodist Connectional System. Okay, to understand the uniqueness and purpose of the episcopacy, the itineracy and appointment process, the ordering of ministry and annual conference. Third, to have a wider understanding of the many ways our connection works together to make disciples of Jesus Christ. And then to have a better understanding of jurisdictions, General Conference, Judicial Council, and Central Conferences, as well as other international affiliated churches. And to be equipped with new insight and tools for discernment in making decisions on the local church and conference level. Ito ang goals ng module na ito from beginning to mga 5 sessions nga ito up to the local church level. So ito yung course goals natin. Next slide. Okay, ito yung resource materials na ginamit, Polity, Practice, Mission of the United Methodist Church by Thomas Frank, Life Together in the United Methodist Church by Beth Galbraith, and the Book of Discipline 2016. Okay, next slide. Yan, itong the connectional principle. Okay? Ito yung unang characteristic siguro ng United Methodist Church is it's a connectional institution or connectional church. Okay? Ayan, inong 1784, Christmas Conference, yun ng doon sa Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. Hindi ba lumalabas yung script? Ayan. The connection principle. The UMC is a connectional mission, not a single corporation. The church is a living cultural tradition that endures because people are loyal to it, not because it has a precise Constitution. Okay? Next. Ayan. Yung connectional, ibig sabihin, no, in contradistinction to other churches, uh, it means that each local church is connected to each other in as a structure, no? Ibig sabihin hindi hiwalay ang bawat local church ng Methodista, hindi hiwalay sa mga ibang local church ng UMC. Ibig sabihin magka-connect sila, no? At ito yung mga, kaya may mga grupo pagkatapos ng local church magkakaroon ng district, ano, conference, ganyan, dahil ang government ng Methodist Church ay single lang. Okay, yun ang pag-aaralan natin ngayong gabi, yung saan nagagaling ang policies at sa doctrines, ganyan ng Methodista. Okay, so the Book of Discipline, ito yung nilalaman, yung Constitution from paragraph 1 to 99, and then the 101 to 199 are the doctrines, doctrinal statements, general rules, ministry of all Christians, social principles. And then, dun sa 201 to 299, the local church, ito yung last na pag-uusapan natin sa 5th session. Okay? Yung 301 to 399, the ministry of ordained, yung tungkol ito naman sa mga magsisilbi sa iglesia, okay? Biyang mga elder, diakono, no? Local pastors. Sa 401 to 499, ito yung superintendency, no? Ito yung district superintendency. Okay, next slide. The 501 to 699, ito na yung conferences. Actually, mag-concentrate tayo dito sa conferences. And then 701 to 2499, ito yung administrative order. Okay? 2501 to 2599 church property, and 2601 to 2799 judicial administration. Okay, next slide. Okay, the principle of conferencing. Part of being connectional, tayo, no, biyang local church, hindi tayo nag-iisa, biyang local church, tayo ay may mga kapwa na mga local churches. Kaya nga, sinabi ko kanina, yung small groups, no, is part of the church. We all call conference together. Our way of doing things is our conferencing. You know? Ibig sabihin, tayo ay nag-gather together, tapos we take the business of the church together, yung mga lahat ng mga reports ng mga nangyayari sa mga iglesia natin, yung mga organizations natin, at saka yung mga hinaharap nating issue bilang iglesia. We do it by conferencing. So we start with small groups, and then the church conference is the local church, the district, no? And then the annual conference, the jurisdictional and central conferences, and the general conference. No? Yung ating pagkasunod-sunod ng pagtalakay ngayon sa ating module ay umpisan natin from top to bottom, which is general conference down to the church conference. Okay, next. Ito yung jurisdictional conferences. Bilang iglesia, ang ating sentro, sabihin natin na pinagbulan o yung sa USA, United States of America, no? Na doon talaga yung sabihin natin na yung headquarters natin, So sa Amerika, ang United Methodist Church ay na-divide into jurisdictional conferences, no? Kung makikita niyo yan, no? may iba-ibang kulay, no? Yung jurisdiction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jurisdictions, no? Yan ay makikita nyo yung brown ay North Central Jurisdiction. Yan, nandiyan ang Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, West Ohio, East Ohio, West Michigan, Detroit, Wisconsin, Dakota, no? Minnesota. Doon gaganapin ang next General Conference. And then yung green, yun yung Northeastern Jurisdiction, yung New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Baltimore, New York, Upper New York. And then sa South Central Jurisdiction, ito yung violet, no? Yan yung Oklahoma, New Mexico, Central Texas, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Great Plains. And then sa Southeastern Jurisdiction, itong kasama yung Florida, Alabama, Georgia, South Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Mississippi. And then, Western Jurisdiction. Okay. Itong blue, no? California, Desert Southwest, California Pacific, California Nevada, Rocky Mountain, Yellowstone, Oregon, Idaho, and Pacific Northwest. Okay, so basically, dun sa Amerika, yung annual conferences are called jurisdictions. At ang bawat jurisdiction ay nag-i-elect ng kanya-kanyang bishop. Okay, next slide. Okay, dito naman sa Central Conferences na kung saan tayo kasali, ang Central Conferences ay yung mga labas ng mainland USA. So sa Africa, may tatlong Central Conferences, Africa, Congo, and West Africa. Okay? Tapos sa Europe, Central Conferences, may 1, 2, tatlo. Central and Southern Europe, Germany, saka Northern Europe and Eurasia. Tapos dito sa Asia, yung Philippines Central Conference. Tayo yan. Okay? Next. Pinapakita ko lang yung overview kung gaano kalawak ang worldwide Methodism. Kaya pinakita ko yung jurisdictions and central conferences. Okay, the Episcopal principle. Ito yung principle of governance natin. We believe in the episcopacy. Pag sinabi mo episcopacy, mga obispo yan. Okay? Sige. Yan, the United Methodist Episcopacy yan ang symbol ng obispo. Hindi mo ba nakikita yung script ng episcopacy?
Meron pong script, Doc. Gusto niyo po bang
Yun.
sandali po? Ayusin ko po.
Okay, while waiting for that, the appointment process, ang mga pastor, no, manggagawa sa United Methodist Church ay ina-appoint. Ito 'yon. The ordained clergy, yun, nandun yun. The ordained clergy, huwag mong ipaliit yan, yung red ang palakihin mo. Yan. The ordained clergy, elders and deacons, the licensed clergy, licensed local pastors, the lay ministry, the baptized, certified personnel, deaconesses and home missioners, class lay leaders, lay missioners, certified lay servants, certified lay speakers, and certified lay ministers. Ito ang leadership, no, ng ministry sa United Methodist Church. Okay? Next slide. Ayan. So ito, yung yung sabi ko ngayon na the set of of conferences na ginaganap, no? Ito yung General Conference which meets every 4 years, the Jurisdictional Conference which also meets every 4 years, the Annual Conference, of course, yearly, Church Conference ay yearly, at saka yung committees, syempre as the need arises sa charge sa within the year. Okay, next. Okay, ito actually gusto ko sanang mag-focus dito ng mas matagal pero hindi masyado akong nakahanda. Pero ito yung general boards and agencies na nag-serve from the General Conference, no? Una na yung discipleship ministries, ito yung mga naghahanda ng mga study materials natin, no? Uh, Yun, Board of Discipleship, ganyan. No? At saka yung mga uh, age level na ministries natin, UMM, UMW, UMAYAF, at saka youth. No? These are discipleship ministries. General Board of Pension and Health Benefits, ito yung doon sa Amerika, ito yung sa bagay tayo rin naka-join doon tayo parang inilagay yung pera natin ng pensions din sa nagmamanage ng General Board of Pension and Health Benefits. Then the General Board of Church and Society, siguro next time we will have time to look at this more kasi nandito sa Chapter 5 ng Book of Discipline ng mga to, the General Board of Church and Society, which takes care of the church's perspectives, no, on social issues. The General Board of Global Ministries, very familiar tayo dyan. Ito yung nagsisend ng mga missionaries sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo, no, Methodism. Yung UMCOR, naririnig natin yan lagi, United Methodist Committee on Relief, no? Kasi yun yung nagko-coordinate ng relief efforts pag mayroong mga nasasalanta. The General Board of Higher Education and Ministry, ito ang nag-a-administer, gumagawa ng mga policies at nagre-raise din ng funds para sa mga institution natin of education, no? Yung tawag doon, colleges, universities, seminaries, yan, at kahit na basic education din. Okay? General Commission on Archives and History, ito yung nangangasiwa ng mga pag-iipon ng mga histories at saka mga archives, no, ng ating iglesia. The General Commission on Religion and Race, ito yung tinatalakay niya yung malaking issue tungkol sa mga marginalized na races, the tribes and races, how we lift them up and relate to them. The General Commission in Status and Role of Women, ito naman ay tungkol sa mga kababaihan, no? Ito yung nag-spearhead ng mga programa, no, tungkol sa mga issues ng kababaihan. The General Commission on United Methodist Men, no? Well, yan, no? Mabuti na lang at nakarelate na rin na tayo dyan kahit medyo mahina ang ating United Methodist Men sa Pilipinas, pero itong commission na ito, no, ay hinihikayat niya sa paglago ng United Methodist Men. The General Council on Finance and Administration, ito yung nangangasiwa ng lahat ng pinansya patungkol sa operasyon ng United Methodist Church worldwide. No? The General United Methodist Communications, ito yung nagpa-publish, ito yung gumagawa ng mga kaparaanan para ma-improve ang communication systems, no? Dito at nagbibigay din ng mga information, no? The United Methodist Publishing House, ito yung Foxbury dati, Ito ang publishing house ng Methodist Church na naging online na ngayon ang distribution. Okay, and then the United Methodist Women, ito ay napaka-powerful na agency na United Methodist Women kasi ito yung mga student centers, mga ganyan ng pinamang siwaan niya at nung araw talaga, ito yung mga sentro, ang mga student work dito sa Pilipinas. Okay, next slide. Yan, ito, dahil connectional tayo, yung giving natin ay connectional din, no? So, siguro, alam naman natin na ang bawat local church mayroong tinatawag na apportionment, no? Ayan. And then meron din yung mga offering, part of our offerings goes to special offerings, no? Yung mga special offering Sunday natin, ibinibigay din natin, no, sa and ito yung sabi niya in the US, ito yung 85 cents for every dollar, 85 cents stays in the local church, 6 cents goes to benevolent giving, 7 cents to jurisdictional conferences, and 2% goes to general apportionments. Kaya tayo sa local church, hindi masyado natin namamalayan, pero sa annual conference na pag-uusapan talaga to kung paano tayo magbigay, no, yung bawat pera ni binibigay natin, kung paano ito nahahati-hati. Okay, next. Okay, so the Judicial Council and the Book of Resolutions. No, makikita rin natin yung Judicial Council, mamaya makikita natin na mas malalim, pero itong Book of Resolutions, ito yung aside from the Book of Discipline, yung Book of Resolutions ay mga nabubuo to bawat General Conference, ay ito yung mga stand natin, yung mga social principles natin as applied to the context, to our context in the present situation. Yan yung mga resolutions na binubuo. At ito, kagaya ng mga pananaw natin tungkol sa war, mga ongoing wars, yung mga extrajudicial killings, mga ganyan. No, mga issues talaga ng society. I would expect that the Book of Resolutions this coming General Conference would include yung mga response natin sa pandemic. No? Okay, next slide. Okay, we have the most powerful theology of grace that has ever infused the human race. Can grace-infused theology hold us together in the revolution that is now necessary? Can we plant ourselves firmly on opposite huge issues, pray and argue and fight our way through this, and see a healthy and actually united Methodist Church born yet once more? Can we free ourselves from the death strangle of our current methods and still be Methodist? If we can't or we won't, we need to die anyway. We deserve no better than to slowly lose oxygen as we wander forever lost through the dead-end maze known as the Book of Discipline. If we can and we will, then we will unleash the Spirit of God yet once more. It is time. This statement is based on our current situation. Mamaya medyo papahapyawan natin, although I suggest that later on we will look at our present current situation that will be discussed in general conference, no, and we will need Bishop Torio as a resource person for that, but not at this time, maybe at the very end of our module. Okay, next slide. But although a difference in opinions or modes of worship may prevent an entire external union, yet need it prevent our union in affection. Though we cannot think alike, may we not love alike. May we not be of one heart, though we are not of one opinion. Without all doubt, we may, herein all the children of God may unite, notwithstanding these smaller differences. These remaining as they are, they may forward one another in love and good works. Okay, this is from John Wesley's sermon. Okay. Siguro this time we'll look at the video. What is General Conference? Yeah, what is General Conference?
Sure, Doc. Just give me a quick second.
Yung video na ito ay prepare na UMCOM. But at the same time, this has a script. Kaya pag ibibigay sa inyo ni Kier sa inyong mga Gmail, may script itong video na ito. Maybe the video is just too large to be sent into your email, but the script can easily be sent.
General Conference and how it serves the United Methodist Church. Three main bodies govern the United Methodist Church: the General Conference, the Council of Bishops, and the Judicial Council. The General Conference is the body that sets official policy and speaks as the entire denomination. As the highest legislative body of the United Methodist Church, General Conference holds the power to revise the Book of Discipline and the Book of Resolutions, while also initiating amendments to the denomination's constitution. General Conference normally meets once every quadrennium, or every 4 years. The Council of Bishops may also call a special session to address a specific topic. Only 2 special sessions have been called since the United Methodist Church formed in 1968. Any congregation, conference, organization, or person may submit a petition to General Conference to change the Book of Discipline or the Book of Resolutions. Further petitions may also be introduced from the floor by delegates. Most legislation requires a simple majority vote to pass. Amendments to the denomination's constitution require a 2/3 vote of the General Conference, followed by a 2/3 aggregate vote of the lay and clergy members present and voting in the annual conferences. However, changes to Restrictive Rules 1 and 2 in the Constitution, which establish the doctrinal standards, require a 3/4 aggregate vote of the lay and clergy members present and voting in the annual conferences. General Conference also approves the budget allocating apportioned funds. Official documents such as the United Methodist Hymnal and the Book of Worship, and official teachings on subjects such as baptism and Holy Communion. Delegates are United Methodists from around the world elected by their annual, missionary, or provisional conference. The total number of delegates at General Conference must always fall between 600 and 1,000 people. The General Conference consists of an equal number of lay and clergy delegates. Conferences elect their delegates no more than 2 years prior to the next General Conference session. Lay members to annual conference elect lay delegates, and clergy members elect clergy delegates. The United Methodist Church has a concordant agreement with 4 autonomous Methodist churches to send a total of 10 voting delegates. The Book of Discipline contains the formula for determining how delegates are apportioned from each of the conferences. The Secretary of the General Conference determines the total number of delegates and applies that formula to determine how many will come from each conference to meet the total number required. Every conference is allowed to send at least 2 delegates to General Conference, regardless of its size. 1 lay, 1 clergy. All delegates are eligible to vote on all legislation considered by the General Conference. Bishops preside during the General Conference session, but have neither voice nor vote. They do not address the conference unless given permission by General Conference. The Book of Discipline, the Book of Resolutions, and other official documents affected by General Conference are updated following the session to include newly adopted legislation. In most instances, legislation becomes effective on January 1st of the following year. Amendments to the Constitution become official only after they are ratified. The Judicial Council may be petitioned to review any resolution or legislation passed by General Conference to determine its constitutionality or legality, its meaning or effect. In summary, the General Conference sets the policies for the work of the Church. It also adopts the worldwide denominational budget. By doing these things, the General Conference seeks to strengthen the mission to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. To learn more, check out Chapter 4, Section 1 of the Book of Discipline, or visit resourceumc.org.
Okay. See, nakita natin ang General Conference which happens every 4 years. And each annual conference sa atin, pinagpapadala ng dalawang ligado, isang clergy, saka isang laiko na ini-elect natin during the annual conference 2 years before the actual session of the annual conference. Okay? Yeah, play that one. Okay, so the General Conference is the top legislative assembly of the United Methodist Church. It meets every 4 years or when special sessions are called. One body that speaks on behalf of the entire denomination. Okay, next slide. And then what does the General Conference do? It reviews the Book of Discipline and the Book of Resolution. It votes on changes to the church constitution. Okay, amendments to be ratified by 3/4 of the total annual conference voting, and sets the denomination's budget and determines ministry priorities for the next 4 years. Ito yung mga focus natin for the next 4 years na ministries. Yung General Conference ang nag-articulate o nag-specify. Then he elects bishop to serve on boards and agencies and persons who serve on General Conference bodies. Okay, and elects judicial council members. Okay, next slide. The election of delegates occurs at the annual conference, 2 years preceding the General Conference. Then each annual conference elects an equal number of clergy and lay delegates. And then clergy and lay delegates are each elected by their peer groups at the session. All elected delegates must be chosen by a majority of those voting. Or multiple ballots are taken until a majority is elected. Totoo yan. Kaya mahirap din nagpa-elect na delegado. Okay, next. Okay. What role do the bishops play? Bishops attend General Conference and preside over its session. However, bishops do not vote at General Conference, nor can they address the body unless given permission by the General Conference. Okay, next. Okay, what is the Judicial Council's role? Ayan, nandyan si Justice Reyes na pumanaw na. Ayan, representative natin sa Judicial Council. The Judicial Council is the highest judicial body of the denomination made up of 9 members, okay, and meets twice a year and rules on constitutionality, meaning an application of any act or legislation by the General Conference. Pag mayroong legislation kahit sa annual conference na gusto mong questionin, send a petition to the Judicial Council. Okay? Okay, how do petitions reach General Conference? Ito, petitions are submitted to the Secretary of the General Conference 180 days prior or 6 months prior to General Conference. And all petitions must be signed by the person submitting them with personal information, no, provided. Uh, each petition that is properly submitted is given a number and printed in the advance edition or the daily Christian Advocate mailed to all General Conference delegates prior to the conference. Okay. What are the legislative committees? Legislative committees are the bodies that will consider individual petitions before presented at the floor of their General Conference. Each delegate is assigned to a committee. General Conference 2020 will have 14 legislative committees. Each committee can recommend a petition be adopted, rejected, or revised by the General Conference. A committee may also submit majority and minority recommendations to allow dissenting committee members the opportunity to share their opinion in the General Conference. Ito yung mga, kung gusto natin may pagbabago, no, sa ating iglesia, no, gagawa tayo ng petition, isubmit natin, no, and this will be considered by legislative committees. Okay? Ito, how can I keep track? Siguro, here, ipakita muna natin yung binigay ko sa iyo na word na what are the legislative committees? Ano yung mga legislative committees ng General Conference? Ito, yung 12, there are 12, the regular is we have 12 legislative committees, okay? All 12 legislative committees meet in the convention center where it takes place. The committees review, sort, and refine legislative proposals. No action is final until approved by the General Conference in the plenary. So ito lahat ng petition dadaan sa mga legislative committees at pagkatapos ito ay may i-report sa floor during the business session of the General Conference. Kung ano yung magiging boto ng mga delegado, ayun ang magiging action doon sa petition na yun. Okay? So there are 12 committees in their assigned topics. Number one, the first committee is Church and Society 1. Receives all petitions and resolutions relating to the work and concerns of the General Board of Church and Society and the social principles, with the exception of paragraphs in the Book of Discipline dealing with the nurturing community and the social community. Okay, so yung Church and Society 2 receives all petitions and resolutions relating to the nurturing community and the social community sections of the social principles. So yung committees 1 and 2, Church and Society, deals on the book, on the social principles of the Methodist Church. Number 3, conferences. Receives all petitions and resolutions relating to the composition and activities of the general, jurisdictional, annual, provincial, and missionary and district conferences. Halimbawa, magpipetition tayo ng isang bagong missionary annual conference, no? Yun, dadaan yun sa isang petition papunta sa General Conference. Okay, discipleship. Receives all petitions and resolutions relating to the work and concerns of the discipleship ministries go to this committee. So, lahat ng petitions tungkol sa discipleship ay pupunta sa committee and discipleship. Yung faith and order receives petitions relating to doctrinal standards and our theological tact, the ministry of all Christians, and the meaning ordination in conference membership. Ito yung madalas maraming petitions. Yung bang mga policies sa pag ilang kasi kaming mga pastor na nararanasan namin to kasi nagbabago-bago every quadrennium yung mga kung anong required yung bago ka ma-ordain, no? Noon talaga pwede ka nang ma-ordain, ma nung kami na-ordain pa kami ng deacon tapos naging na-ordain pa na elder, 2 ordinations kami doon. Tapos ngayon naghiwalay na, isa na lang yung ordination, either elder or deacon, ganyan. Tapos yung ilang years bago ka ma-ordain, no? Nagbabago din. So ito dito sa Faith and Order, the petitions na pagbabago, pati yung ang mga requirements para ma-lisensyahan ka na local pastor, yung certified mga ganyan. And then go to the sixth is the financial administration receives all petitions or resolutions relating to, hindi ko mabasa here sa baba. Ayan, relating to the work and concerns of the General Council on Finance Administration, the General Board of Pension and Health Benefits, and the United Methodist Publishing House. The budget and recommendation prepared by the GCFA are submitted to this committee for study and review. Okay? When GCFA, sige, babak here, presents its report to General Conference for action, the committee presents its recommendations and may propose amendments. No? Yan, general administrations, no, are all petitions relating to the work and concerns of the connectional table. No? The connectional table report is submitted to this committee for study and review. After the connectional table presents its report to the General Conference for action, the committee presents its recommendations and may propose amendments. Ito ang pinaka-common sa akin, itong global ministries receives all resolutions relating to the work and concerns of the General Board of Global Ministries. So, an independent commissions receive all petitions and resolutions relating to commissions and ecumenical concerns. This includes archives and history, Christian unity and interreligious concerns, communications, religion and race, the status and role of women, and the United Methodist Men. Ecumenical concerns relate to the denomination's membership in or relationship with the World Methodist Council, the World Council of Churches, other councils on consultations of churches, and the American Bible Society. So yung judicial administration receives all petitions relating to judiciary concerns and investigations, trials and appeals are handled by this committee. Madalas ito yung judicial administration, yan yung paano ang proseso ng pag-iimbestiga, pagpaparusa sa mga may kaso. Okay. And then local church ministry receives all petitions and resolutions relating to the organization of local church. This committee also considers petitions relating to local church property. Ito yung mga incorporation issues ng local church, yung pati yung nagbago-bago yung organization ng local church, yung ngayon, yung may now ministries, nung araw may administrative board, may council on ministries, pero nagbago yung setup. So ito, dito sa local church ministry, lahat ng petition sa pagbabago ng struktura ng local church. Itong higher education and superintendency receives all petitions of resolutions pertaining to higher education and ministry, which deals with petitions concerning seminaries, okay, ordination and clergy, and superintendency, which handles petitions concerning district superintendents and bishops. No, so yung mga seminaries, at mga colleges and universities natin, no, ay under the Board of Higher Education. Ito yung Higher Education Committee. Okay. Ito yung standing committee on Central Conference Matter. Dito, under tayo rito, because we are a central conference, this committee handles legislative proposals affecting central conferences. Okay? Noon na nagpetition tayo ng isa o dalawang bagong central conference, ito hindi na-endorse ng Standing Committee on Central Conference Matters. Pero doon sa Africa, na-aprobahan ng isang bagong uh, uh, annual conference. No? At pati bishop, nagkaroon din ng mag-i-elect din ng bagong bishop. If a plenary section approves legislation that involves funding, that action is referred to CFA and the connectional table. The groups bring the legislation back to the assembly with specific recommendations about sources and amount. So pati yung budget natin as a central conference, ito ay dinidiscuss sa GCFA and then presented also to the annual, to the Central General Conference. Okay, itong tracking legislation, siguro hindi natin masyadong and to summarize, the legislative process, annual conferences, local churches, and general agencies and organizations, and individuals submit petitions. The petition secretary, Reverend Gary Graves, assigns a petition number to each, and each number indicates the legislative committee, chronological order, and source. Each petition is assigned to legislative committees. No? Petitions are printed in the advanced edition of the Daily Christian Advocate. Ito ay sinisend sa mga delegado ng General Conference. Then a reference committee reviews assignments by the petition secretary. The committee combines petition and makes new assignments to legislative committees as necessary. And legislative committees review petitions and make recommendations to the plenary session. Okay? So ito, especially for those who are elected delegates to the General Conference, no? Ito yung, at kayo naman na nakaranas na ito, alam nyo na ito talaga yung proseso, no? At every delegate participates in the General Conference through the legislative committees. Okay. Reports are sent to the Daily Christian Advocate. The copy is returned to the officers for approval and sent to the General Conference Secretary for a calendar prior to printing in the Daily Christian Advocate. Delegates in plenary session act upon the calendar item and adopted legislation imprinted on the Book of Discipline or the Book of Resolutions. The Daily Christian Advocate becomes the official journal of the General Conference. Sinabi ko kanina, sa bawat General Conference, magkakaroon ng bagong Book of Discipline at bagong Book of Resolutions. Okay? Medyo anong oras na? 8 o'clock na. Siguro, pahapyawan lang natin yung dalawang videos, yung Council of Bishops.
Sige po. Council of Bishops muna pong mauna.
Yung Council of Bishops na lang. Kasi yung Judicial Council medyo na natin kayo.
Bishops and how it serves the United Methodist Church. There are three main bodies that govern the United Methodist Church: the General Conference, the Council of Bishops, and the Judicial Council. The Council of Bishops consists of all active and retired bishops in the United Methodist Church. In 2020, the church has 66 active bishops. The council generally meets twice a year, with additional meetings as needed. Each bishop oversees the mission and ministry of an episcopal area based on the direction set by General Conference and the local context. Bishops are elders elected by voting delegates of a jurisdictional or central conference. Bishops in the jurisdictional conferences in the United States are elected for life. In the central conferences in Africa, Asia, and Europe, the term of their service as bishops varies and may require re-election. Bishops provide spiritual leadership to the global denomination as well as for the episcopal area of one or more annual conferences to which they are assigned. Each bishop provides day-to-day leadership for the episcopal area for a 4-year term. Within their areas, bishops preside over annual conference sessions and appoint ordained and licensed clergy to local churches and other places of service, including as district superintendents. By discipline, bishops may serve 2 terms in one episcopal area and can be assigned a 3rd for missional purposes. Bishops are then assigned to a different episcopal area by their jurisdictional or central conference. Retired bishops no longer serve an episcopal area, but continue to be a part of the council. Together, as the council, they provide guidance in carrying out the church's mission in the world, as well as sharing in teaching, equipping, and advocating for justice and unity. Additionally, the Council strives toward relationships with churches of Methodist and other traditions through ecumenical partnerships. The Council of Bishops also assigns bishops to the governing boards of general agencies and other ministerial bodies. The Council is led administratively by an executive committee, which includes a president and other officers. Every 4 years, the Council selects one bishop to present the episcopal address at General Conference. In summary, the Council of Bishops provides spiritual and temporal leadership to the overall church. By doing this, the Council of Bishops seeks to strengthen the church to carry out its mission to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. To learn more, check out Division 3 of the Constitution of the United Methodist Church in the Book of Discipline or visit our website at resourceumc.org.
Sige, sunod na natin yung
Quick
Jesus.
overview of the Judicial Council and how it serves the United Methodist Church. There are 3 main bodies that govern the United Methodist Church: the General Conference, the Council of Bishops, and the Judicial Council. The Judicial Council determines the constitutionality and legality of acts or proposed acts of the general, jurisdictional, central, and annual conferences based on the Church's constitution and other parts of the Book of Discipline. The Judicial Council is made up of 9 members who are elected during regular sessions of General Conference. All of the Judicial Council members and alternates serve on a volunteer basis and are active in their local churches and other parts of the connection. Members sometimes have a legal background, and several active and retired judges have served. The Council more and more reflects the diversity of the global church. The 2017-2020 Council has the first president from a central conference. 4 clergy and 4 laity always serve on the Judicial Council, with the 9th seat alternating between clergy and laity. A member's term lasts 8 years, and they can serve 2 successive terms. However, a member who has served 16 years must sit out for at least 4 years before standing for another election. Each General Conference elects the number of members whose terms expire at that session. The Council of Bishops submits nominees. General Conference delegates can make additional nominations. The Judicial Council meets for a spring and a fall session each year. Their docket, the items to be ruled on, regularly includes reviews of all decisions of law made by bishops, matters which have been appealed to them, and requests for declaratory decisions. Although there are sometimes open hearings before the Judicial Council, deliberations of the Council are closed. The Judicial Council sets its own rules and procedures and elects its own president, vice president, and secretary. Appropriate bodies can submit a petition for a declaratory decision to the Judicial Council. At At issue is the meaning, constitutionality, or legality of some legislation or action of the General Conference or some other body. These requests are reviewed, and a docket is created for each session. The docket may also include reviews of decisions of central conferences or jurisdictional committees on appeals. The docket is then posted on the Judicial Council's website. After a ruling is made on questions of church law, appropriate parties are notified and the decision is published online. An affirmative vote of at least 6 members shall be necessary to declare any act of the General Conference unconstitutional. When the Judicial Council declares any provision unconstitutional, the Book of Discipline is revised. All decisions are final. However, the Judicial Council can accept requests to reconsider a prior decision. To learn more, check out Chapter 7, Part 6 of the Book of Discipline, or visit resourceumc.org.
Okay, that ends our session for tonight.